2026 Subaru WRX Base, proof that cheap fun still exists. So, here's a dream assignment. Drive a brand new WRX from Manchester all the way to the Goodwood Festival of Speed, throw in a track session at Oulton Park, and 2 days carving through the Welsh countryside. And yeah, you say yes before you even check your calendar. For 2026, Subaru brought back a base trim, and it's now the cheapest way into a WRX at $33,690. That's honestly kind of wild. In 2026, you get one choice to make it the dealer. What color you want. Everything else, the 11.6-inch touchscreen, EyeSight driver aids, the 2.4-liter turbo boxer 4, and a 6-speed manual comes standard. No trim-level games, no upsell maze. Just a manual, all-wheel drive sports sedan for under $34,000. That lack of options is actually part of the magic. It's how Subaru keeps costs down without gutting the car. And after a couple days living with it, there wasn't much anyone would actually miss. They kicked things off at Oulton Park, a tight 17-turn, 2.6-mile circuit. A great way to find out what the car's really made of before hitting public roads. On paper, 271 horsepower and 258 pounds-ft of torque don't sound thrilling. But the WRX has never been about chasing big numbers. It's about feeling planted and confident. The manual gearbox makes it easy to keep the engine right in its happy zone, and even with a fairly low 6,000 RPM redline. It never felt like it was running out of breath between corners. The standard all-wheel drive setup paired with the Dunlop Performance tires hooked up nicely, letting the car put power down cleanly out of turns. Brakes felt progressive and easy to modulate, and the sports suspension kept things composed enough that you found yourself pushing harder lap after lap. Day one wrapped up with a long stretch from England into Wales on narrow, twisty B roads. Since the test car was US spec left-hand drive being driven on the left side of the road, there was a bit of extra brain power needed just to stay oriented, though at least the shifting hand stayed correct. Day two was the real showcase, the mountains and passes of Erie National Park, then rolling hills further south. Generous speed limits on those tiny roads meant plenty of confident overtakes, and the car never struggled on steep climbs, always feeling like it had another gear of power and reserve. Where the WRX really impressed was ride quality. British B roads are rough, full of mid-corner bumps and cracked pavement, but the suspension soaked it all up without getting harsh or unsettled. You still feel the road, just not in a way that beats you up. The 18-inch wheels split the difference nicely between comfort and sportiness. The 6-speed manual earned some love too, light, easy clutch take-up, and a shifter with well-defined gates, which mattered a lot given how often the drive involved slowing down through centuries-old Welsh towns and rowing through the gears. The one low point of the whole trip, sitting in traffic near a pub outside Burford, where that light clutch pedal suddenly felt a lot heavier after 30 minutes of stop and go, even after a full day of driving. Nobody was itching to get out and stretch. The front seats, even on the base trim, offer solid support, and the cloth seats, while not fancy, never felt like a letdown. Red contrast stitching adds a nice touch of personality you don't usually expect on an entry-level car. The one real weak spot is the infotainment system. The vertical touchscreen layout isn't as intuitive as a horizontal one, and the software feels dated, especially compared to Subaru's newer interface found in other models. More physical buttons for common functions would go a long way. On the plus side, wireless Apple CarPlay connected reliably every time, even if it took an extra beat to reconnect. Materials are what you'd expect for the price, some hard plastics here and there, but nothing feels cheap. The parts you actually touch, like the armrests and the leather-wrapped wheel, feel properly made after hundreds of miles, track laps, mountain roads, and everything in between. The takeaway is simple. This is a genuinely engaging car for the money. Turbocharged boxer engine, a chassis that's dialed in, and a proper manual gearbox, all wrapped up in a package that doesn't feel like the budget version of anything. There just aren't many new Cars left that deliver this much driver. Involvement for under $34,000. Subaru didn't cheap out on the base trim. It still feels like a real WRX through and through.